Hi there, now we're going to do lesson 57. We're still doing a review, so today let us review these ideas. We're going to review lesson 31. I am not a victim of the world I see. How can I be the victim of a world that can be completely undone if I so choose? That's right. If you don't think you're a victim, the world that victimized you disappears. Like that. My chains are loosened. I can drop them off merely by desiring to do so. Yes, sirree, it's that simple. You can decide to no longer be a victim. Things happened, but they don't affect the soul that is eternal that you are. They cannot. It's impossible. Because if your circumstances can affect the soul that you are, then God is not the powerful God that God is. Then God creates things that can be affected. That would not be God. But God creates what is eternal and unchangeable. That's why it is real and cannot be threatened. So how do we experience the truth of who we are? Very simple. I can let go of completely believing I'm a victim. My chains are loosened. I can drop them off merely by desiring to do so. The prison door is open. I can leave simply by walking out. Nothing holds me in this world. Only my wish to stay keeps me a prisoner. I would give up my insane wishes and walk into the sunlight at last. We have to want to give up our insane wishes. We have to want to know that there is something else that is sweeter, that is more wonderful, that is more delicious for us than this mind-made prison that we have created for ourselves. But until we want that, we cannot have it because we got to put our hand on the doorknob and we got to turn it and pull the door open. That's all we got to do. What is that pulling the door open? Is saying, not my way anymore. I want to think with God. So now let's review lesson 32. I have invented the world I see. I made up the prison in which I see myself. All I need do is recognize this and I am free. All I need do is recognize this. Oh my gosh, I'm creating my insanity. Am I believing the thoughts in my head? Yep. Then I'm insane. Isn't that cute? Isn't that sweet? Isn't that easy? Now I know this stuff is simple. I know it's not easy. I rehashed many thoughts for many years. We're using the time that does not exist. We've collapsed it into a small amount of time, however many years it is that we believe that we're on this planet, and we have jam-packed the density of thousands of years of beliefs. So we have to peel like layers of an onion all of these beliefs little by little, and these beliefs are encountered over and over in different circumstances so we can see them from different angles. I needed to be a good mom. Well, I had to see that through the PTA. I had to see that through the homeowners activities that I did. I had to see it through the tennis team, through my kids' activities, through the grandparents, through the aunts, through the uncles, comparing to other parents. I had to see this whole thing about being a good mom through lots of different filters before I finally let it go. It took a long time. Yes, it was simple as recognizing that I wanted to be free, but the process was very repetitive. So I have sentence number 4 in paragraph 2. I have deluded myself into believing it is possible to imprison the Son of God. I was bitterly mistaken in this belief, which I no longer want. I no longer want to be imprisoned into a small idea of who I am. The Son of God must be forever free. Why? Because that's how God created us, forever free. So free that we can choose to believe that we're in prison. He is as God created him, and not what I would make of him. I am how God created me, not what I think I am. He is where God would have him be, and not where I thought to hold him prisoner. So as I released, my past husband from being in charge of trusting me, from being in charge of believing that I was faithful and wasn't in this relationship for his money, what I began to realize is when I began to let everybody else off the hook and see them as, oh, they're just divine beings, pretending that they're not. That's why they're suffering. Well, what is that saying about me? I am a divine being pretending I'm suffering too when I'm trying to defend myself, or I'm trying to push my agenda on them, because that's not honoring what I am. That's trying to pretend I'm not what they think I am. So I've imprisoned them. I imprison myself. So let's review lesson 33. There is another way of looking at the world. Isn't this wonderful news? Another way of looking at the world. So Sentence number 2. Since the purpose of the world is not the one I ascribed to it, there must be another way of looking at it. I see everything upside down, and my thoughts are the opposite of truth. My thoughts, once you get comfortable that your thoughts, when you're thinking with the ego, are always upside down. Always upside down. They're the opposite of truth, always. I see the world as a prison for God's Son. It must be then that the world is really a place where he can be set free. So if the world is the prison, when we begin to awaken, the world is the place for us to free ourselves. So that's why every situation is perfect. Every irritation is an invitation to look at the ego's motivation for bondage. So if I begin to use everything that is happening that I do not like, to use it as a way to discover what is it that I do like. God, what would you have me do? Holy Spirit, inform me, guide me. Now I'm using all of these obstacles to run an obstacle course and free myself from it. It's beautiful. It's priceless. It's powerful. I would look upon the world as it is and see it as a place where the Son of God finds his freedom. Let me share a quick little story. My middle son, Tony, when he was in high school, he liked to run track. And I remember going to watch him one time, and he was doing one of the events, jumping these hurdles. And I thought to myself, how silly. Why would anybody want to set up hurdles and jump over them? I mean, I'm thinking, here I am, a grown woman in my 40s, tired of jumping hurdles my whole life, jumping through the hoops to get the promotion, jumping through the hoops to get people to like me, to love me, to promote me, to think well of me, to say that I'm a good mom, I'm a wonderful person. And here my son, for fun, was jumping over hurdles. And I watched him with fascination. What makes you want to go through that discomfort, all that training to jump over those hurdles? And you know what it was all about? Because he could. Because it was fun. He could see how high he could jump. He could see how fast he could do it. He could see how well he could compete against some of his other friends. It was just pure fun, just enjoyment. And that was a very profound moment for me. I began to look at all the obstacles that were showing just fun. Oh, there's that irritation that's an invitation. How high can I jump this one? How fast can I make my way around it? I want to get to the finish line because the finish line is my freedom. I want to stop living as if these hurdles are obstacles and see them as nothing more than a fun thing to jump over. And you know what? My son had awesome legs from jumping. I want me some awesome legs. So I love jumping through my hurdles. Let's go ahead and review. This is lesson 34. I could see peace instead of this. When I see the world as a place of freedom, I realize that it reflects the laws of God instead of the rules I made up for it to obey. I will understand that peace, not war, abides in it. And I will perceive that peace also abides in the heart of all who share that place with me. So if all of us are in the mind of God, and we all are in this place of freedom where we have obstacles that we are either going to use them to block us or we're going to use them to just have fun and propel ourselves over them. Because I know that that's the way we're playing the game, and I know that we're all the presence of love, we all have peace here, why not enjoy the process? And I will perceive that peace also abides in the hearts of all who share that place with me. Everybody here is doing the best that they can with what they've got. We're all either jumping hurdles and having it be painful, or we're jumping hurdles because we know it's leading us to freedom. Everything is love expressed or love suppressed. Everything is an opportunity to be the presence of God or an opportunity to be the ego. That's all that's happening here. We're moving towards freedom or we're building our prison. See how simple it is? All we have to do is choose to understand the two, and then pick the one that is real, the one that is fun, the one that happens with ease. And it's always going to be our freedom. It's always going to be our truth. Why? Because that's what God created, and what God created supersedes all that the ego has made. So let's go to the review of lesson 35. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. As I share the peace of the world with my brothers, I begin to understand that this peace comes from deep within myself. As I began to be peaceful with my son as he was doing drugs, as I began to be peaceful and gentle with my daughter as she was going through her episodes of feeling depressed and wanting, having thoughts of suicide, As I began to be kind with my son who was adopted, as he was trying to feel his way in this white world that he was growing up in, even though he had African American roots, as I began to be kind and peaceful with my former husband Ken, who was suffering deeply. He was so afraid that I was going to cheat on him and take his money. Man, the sweet man was hurting, believing all those things that were not true. When I finally saw that they were me, they were reflections of me hurting, and I began to treat them with kindness, not everything changed to bring us closer together. It did with my children, it didn't with Ken. But the peace that I feel in my heart, the love that I still have for him, to release my brother from the bondage of my judgment, left me free. In my presence, he can be free to know that I'm not judging him. He might still be judging me, so he puts himself in prison. But in my presence, he doesn't have to be afraid, because I'm not going to judge him, because I'm not going to give up my peace and my freedom. The world I look upon has taken on the light of my forgiveness and shines forgiveness back at me. I forgive the world forgives me. It has no power to pull me. Once I remove my tentacles from it, then I am free to be me. In this light, I begin to see what my illusions about myself kept hidden. It's a beautiful world out there. I had no idea how peaceful, how benevolent, how fun. There's so many things to do. This gentleman that I'm dating now, he loves to hike. He loves outdoor things. He loves to be outside. Well, he loves to dance too, and that's fabulous and amazing, because I love to dance too. But he's exposing me to so much of the world that I didn't see before, because I had judgments about hiking. I'm not going to go out there and get dirty. I'm a girly girl. I'm a city girl. I can't be doing those things. Oh my gosh, I was missing out on playing in paradise. So it's wonderful to be able to be taught new things, to be that curious and open. I begin to understand the holiness of all living things, including myself, and their oneness with me. So as I am moving out into more adventures with Dan, and I'm seeing this beautiful world of trails and mountains and so much to explore, it's just fascinating that all the holiness of all living things. I get to walk through the woods, and I put my hand on trees, and I feel the moss and just the critters, the sounds of the animals. It's just amazing how interconnected we are. So I'm so grateful that I've had the partners that I've had. They came in and they left at the right time. Everything was perfect. I don't need to have one person to be with for the rest of my life, but I like to be with the one that I'm with at that moment. If Dan ends up being somebody I'm with for the rest of my life, what a fabulous adventure. If he's not, I set him and me free, because I'm one with all that is already in the mind of God. I have no fear of being alone. And that's just such a beautiful place to be in, because love sets things free, and we have been set free to put ourselves in bondage. That's how free we are. And all we have to do is recognize that my mind is part of God's. I'm very holy. How do I want to use my holiness? For freedom or for bondage? Either way, God is not judging. Why? Because God's not judging. God's not going to use something to block itself from feeling the love that God feels for us. Only we do that. All right, my friends, thanks a bunch. I hope you enjoy this particular lesson, number 57, and I'll see you at the next one. Take care.